Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Please welcome the Assistant Provost of Student Affairs at College of DuPage, Dr. Diana del Rosario.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to have colleagues, guests, and students joining us today for the Higher Education Food Security Summit. My name is Diana del Rosario, and I serve as the Assistant Provost of Student Affairs at College of DuPage. And I have the pleasure of being part of a team that has been and continues to be student-centered and in tune with student needs. Today, we're making a reality the goal of bringing multiple stakeholders to discuss the important topic of providing food security for students. This is a critical and foundational need to help students be physically and mentally prepared to learn. We attempted to host this event on March 13 of 2020, and you may recall that as the day that face-to-face work in education across the state of Illinois and for many institutions of higher ed impacted all of us, and we had to close. But I am very glad, very happy that we have this new opportunity to make the event a reality. Hosting it online has allowed for us to have a mix of students, practitioners, experts, and education professionals that has brought individuals from as far as Oregon and Puerto Rico. Today's Food Security Summit has been developed by a wonderful team of individuals that are practitioners and researchers, and I want to briefly acknowledge them. I'm going to start with Shamli Angwakar, who is a biology professor here at College of DuPage, Deborah Adelman in the English department, Remick Ensweiler, our prairie manager, Lauren Morgan in our speech department, Chuck Steele, our manager of student life, Shannon Hernandez, who is our student life PTK advisor and a critical member of serving students through our fuel pantry, Amy Chambers, our Campus Compact AmeriCorps Vista member. And I also want to acknowledge former fuel pantry members, interns, Anna Vitek, who was one of our former advisors, and those that have really contributed to where we are as an institution with food security. We hope that the event allows for the exchange of best practices, ideas, and inspiration to help all of you as attendees continue to further the work of creating food security for students. And we also hope that you leave today with names, relationships, contacts, and a collective sense that we are all on this together. We're all trying to support students through creative and sustainable solutions to fill this gap for our college-age populations. Now, I will have the pleasure of introducing one of our strongest supporters, Dr. Brian Caputo, President of College of DuPage, who will provide welcoming remarks. Dr. Caputo.
Excuse me, folks, we're got a little technical difficulty there, but good morning. My name is Dr. Brian Caputo, and I serve as president of College of DuPage. On behalf of our faculty, staff, and students, welcome to our inaugural Higher Education Food Security Summit. At College of DuPage, we recognize students fare much better in school when some of their most basic needs are met, including having access to food. Studies also show that 30% of all students face food insecurity at some point in their college careers. To help combat this vital issue, we have a fuel garden and a fuel pantry to alleviate food scarcity problems for our students and staff. I am proud to be part of the work that we have all done thus far, but I fully understand that there is much more work to do. And that's why today's summit is so important as we identify viable practices to methodically address food insecurity statewide. In closing, I challenge you to share your experiences, stories, and ideas so we can continue the work together to advocate for our students. Thank you so much.
And now we will hear a video welcome from Senator Durbin.
Glad to join you today virtually to address the Food Insecurity Summit. I'd like to take a moment and thank you for your hard work in making sure college students can meet their basic needs. The COVID-19 pandemic brought real challenges to college campuses, including increased food insecurity. A survey in 2020 found that 34% of college students were food insecure, but not all students have been affected equally. Community college students, first-generation college students, students from low-income homes and communities, and students from communities of color have been disproportionately affected. Research shows that food insecurity is correlated with lower attendance rates, lower completion rates, and a lower GPA. College students should be able to focus on their education, not just worry about where the next meal is coming from. That's why I work to include $25 million in the American Rescue Plan to expand SNAP online purchasing. While our country is still recovering from the pandemic, hardworking Americans are trying to return to normalcy. My Republican colleagues want to impose more onerous work requirements to receive SNAP benefits. There's no research that shows this would actually help students advance their futures. I'm afraid my colleagues have it backwards. That's why I signed on to a letter to the Department of Agriculture to issue guidance clarifying SNAP eligibility for college students without work requirements. I also am a co-sponsor of the Student Food Security Act, permanently expanding SNAP benefits to low-income college students. As you continue your vital work to ensure Illinois community colleges students have access to nutritious meal, I'll continue to fight for federal dollars to increase the food security. Thanks for your important work on behalf of Illinois students.
Thank you, Dr. Del Rosario, Dr. Caputo, and Senator Durbin for that welcome. Before we start today's sessions, the Food Security Initiative would just like to take a moment to acknowledge that the College of DuPage resides on land that does not belong to us, but was taken without permission from its original occupants, the Potawatomi, Miami, and Illinois, the Oneida, Menominee, Ho-Chunk, Ojibwe, and people of many nations. These original occupants acknowledged that the land did not belong to them, but that they belong to the land. We encourage all of you to take a moment to reflect on the lands that you are coming from and the original inhabitants. By introducing yourself in the chat with your name, what your location is currently called, and the indigenous tribes that originally occupied the land. We're also putting a link that I think just got put in the chat to a site where you can find the names of the nations that were the original inhabitants of your region if you don't know so already. We also acknowledge that this land acknowledgement is just one small step towards healing that does not undo the vast harm that has been done. We encourage everyone here today to further educate themselves on this topic, and we have a board in Whova's community section called Beyond the Land Acknowledgement, where we'll be posting resources to learn more, and anyone who would like to share resources here is welcome to do so as well. All right, so while everyone reflects and posts their introductions in the chat, I'm just going to give a very brief tutorial of Whova and some of the neat features it has that you guys can all use throughout the day. All right, so everyone here did great because you found this session already. So when you went into this session, you did it by going to the agenda, the sessions, and then you came to this web page. So right now we're using a Zoom webinar link, and this link will be the same link from now until 11 o'clock after our policy discussion. But after that policy discussion, this Zoom will close and you'll have to go back into Whova and select the breakout session that you'd like to attend. And that will be a separate Zoom room. So you'll go into that breakout session, and after that breakout session ends, you'll have to also come back into Whova to go into the second breakout session. And if you haven't already decided which breakout sessions you want to attend, you can click on each one of them and scroll down to the bottom to see a description of what the session will be about. A couple just quick other features that Whova has. There's a section for attendees. So you can see all of the attendees of the summit, but it also recommends certain attendees to you based on where you went to school, the organization you're coming from, the town you're in, your interests. So you can meet people that way and connect with people with similar interests if you're interested in that. There's also a messages feature of Whova. So you can send direct messages to other people who have similar interests or to speakers, and you can also receive messages that way. And the last feature I want to briefly touch on is the community board in Whova. So this has a bunch of different topics that you can explore. There's a place to ask us as the organizers of the summit questions. There's a place for us to post announcements, but there's also other topics here like any conferences. If you want to share others, I know there's a couple in here already. You can break the ice and introduce yourself to other attendees. This is where you'll find our Beyond the Land Acknowledgement Board. And there's also a job board section. So I think there's 4 jobs posted in there right now. So if you're looking for a job or know someone who's looking for a job in the field of food security, I strongly recommend checking that board out. So I'll stop my share. That's just a brief overview of Whova and its many great engagement and networking features that you can all take advantage of throughout the day.